Have you ever been told that you're too nice? That your kindness and willingness to always help others are admirable? But maybe, just maybe, you're going a bit overboard? We live in a society that praises being kind, generous, and accommodating. But what happens when being nice becomes your defining trait? Can it have a negative impact on your relationships, your self-worth, and your personal growth? The truth might surprise you. In this video, we're going to explore the consequences of being overly nice, why it can actually hurt your relationships, diminish your self-worth, and prevent you from growing as a person. We'll dive into the psychological effects of always putting others first, the hidden costs of overgiving, and most importantly, how to reclaim your sense of self-worth and build healthier, more balanced relationships. Ready to find out how to stop being too nice and start putting yourself first? Let's begin. 1. Being too nice diminishes self-worth. How often do you prioritize others' needs over your own? It's easy to fall into the habit of always putting others first, especially when we're taught that kindness is a virtue. However, when you consistently choose to take care of everyone else's needs and neglect your own, what message are you sending to the world, and more importantly, to yourself? By constantly putting others first, you unintentionally tell yourself that your own needs aren't as important as theirs. This erodes your self-worth. You begin to feel that you are less deserving of attention, care, and respect than others. Over time, this behavior can lead to burnout, resentment, and a deep sense of being unappreciated. When you give and give without ever taking the time to care for yourself, you position yourself as someone who can be easily taken for granted. People may come to expect your kindness without ever reciprocating it, and this breeds a lack of respect. After all, why would someone respect you when you're constantly placing their needs above your own, often to your own detriment? Here is to recognize that your needs are just as important as anyone else's. By acknowledging your own worth, you stop allowing others to take advantage of your kindness. Self-respect and self-care should never be sacrificed for the sake of pleasing others. Kindness can be misinterpreted as weakness. Kindness, in its purest form, is an admirable trait. But what happens when kindness becomes excessive? When you are always available, constantly doing favors, and never saying no, kindness can quickly be misinterpreted as weakness. When you go out of your way to please others, people may begin to view your niceness as a lack of boundaries or self-respect. Instead of seeing you as a kind person, they might start to see you as someone who is easily manipulated or taken advantage of. The constant need to give in to others' demands can create the illusion that you are desperate for approval or attention. Setting boundaries is crucial to ensuring that your kindness is seen as strength, not weakness. It's not about being rude or unkind. It's about recognizing your own needs and respecting your time, energy, and emotions. Drawing lines and saying no when necessary isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of self-respect. People respect those who value their own time and energy. By establishing clear boundaries, you show that your kindness comes from a place of strength and personal integrity, not from a place of desperation or insecurity. Desperation kills attraction. One of the most unattractive qualities in a person is desperation. When you constantly try to please others, going out of your way to make them happy or to avoid conflict, it can come across as insecure or needy. And as much as we might like to believe that being overly nice will attract love and admiration, the reality is that it often has the opposite effect. When you're desperate for approval, you signal to others that you don't believe in your own worth. People are naturally drawn to those who exude confidence and independence. Desperation, on the other hand, reeks of insecurity, which is a major turnoff. Think about it. Have you ever been attracted to someone who is overly eager to please or constantly bending over backward to keep you happy? Most likely, the answer is no. Desperation lacks the confidence that makes someone truly magnetic. Confidence, independence, and self-assurance are the traits that draw people in. If you want to be more attractive in your relationships, focus on building your own sense of self-worth and independence. Rather than relying on others to validate you, 4. Overgiving leads to being overlooked. How many times have you gone out of your way for someone, only to feel that your efforts were unappreciated or overlooked? It's a common experience for those who engage in excessive kindness without boundaries. When you give too freely, people begin to take your kindness for granted. They stop appreciating the effort you put in because it becomes expected. Humans are wired to value what requires effort. If someone is always available to help, always ready to give, it becomes the norm, and the value of that kindness diminishes. When you're constantly overgiving without any form of reciprocation, you train others to undervalue you. They may not even recognize the sacrifices you're making because they've come to expect them. To be truly valued, you must create a sense of scarcity. By setting boundaries and being less available, you make your time, energy, and efforts more precious. People are more likely to appreciate you when they see that you're not constantly giving everything you have without asking for anything in return. 5. Over-niceness attracts users. Not genuine connections being overly nice often attracts people who are looking to exploit your kindness for their own gain. When you don't set boundaries, you open the door to individuals who will take advantage of your willingness to help without ever offering anything in return. These are the users who see you as an easy source of support and validation, but who don't have any intention of building a genuine, reciprocal relationship. If you want to attract people who value you for who you are, not just what you can do for them, it's essential to set boundaries. By doing so, you filter out those who only seek to take advantage of your kindness and make room for relationships that are built on mutual respect and reciprocity. Healthy relationships are not one-sided. They are based on give and take, where both parties contribute and care for one another. When you start to value yourself enough to set boundaries, you will naturally attract people who are interested in forming genuine, balanced connections. 6. Overgiving prevents personal growth. One of the biggest costs of overgiving is the impact it has on your personal growth. When you're constantly focused on meeting the needs of others, you often neglect your own passions, goals, and development. This is a form of self-sabotage, as it prevents you from pursuing the things that are important to you and from growing into the person you're capable of becoming. Personal growth requires time, focus, and energy. Forces that are often drained when you are constantly putting others first. But if you don't make personal growth a priority, you risk stagnating, both in your relationships and in your personal life. To foster your own growth, it's essential to take time for yourself, set goals, and focus on your own development. When you invest in your personal growth, you not only become more fulfilled as an individual, but you also become more attractive to others. People are drawn to those who are passionate, driven, and self-assured. By nurturing your own growth, you create a life that is rich and meaningful, independent of others' needs and expectations. 7. Always being available reduces value. When you are always available for others, it can diminish your perceived value. People tend to take for granted what is always accessible. But when you set aside time for yourself and are less available, you signal to others that your time is valuable and that they must respect it. Scarcity creates value. By prioritizing your own time and life, you create a sense of importance that others will recognize and appreciate. This doesn't mean you should be unavailable all the time, but rather that you should ensure your time is spent on things that matter to you. When you do this, people will begin to appreciate your presence more and will respect your boundaries. 8. Kindness without boundaries reflects neediness. While kindness is a beautiful trait, when it is given without boundaries, it can come across as a form of neediness. Over-niceness can signal to others that you are dependent on them for validation or approval. This dependency can be unattractive and may cause others to pull away. To build healthy, balanced relationships, it's essential to show strength and self-sufficiency. When you are independent and confident in your own worth, others will be more drawn to you. By setting boundaries and respecting your own needs, you demonstrate that you don't rely on others for validation, which makes your kindness even more powerful and respected. Balancing kindness with boundaries. The key to cultivating healthy relationships is balancing kindness with boundaries. It's not about withholding kindness, but about ensuring that it doesn't come at the expense of your self-respect, time, or personal happiness. When you set clear boundaries, you make space for relationships that are based on mutual respect and effort. Healthy relationships thrive when both parties give and take in a balanced way. By setting boundaries, you ensure that kindness is shared in a way that is healthy, fulfilling, and respectful for everyone involved. Transformation begins with self-affirmation. Breaking the cycle of overgiving and reclaiming your self-worth begins with self-affirmation. Affirmations like "I choose my happiness," "I am complete within myself," and "I am worthy of respect" help reinforce your sense of value and self-worth. By shifting your focus to personal growth and prioritizing yourself, you set the foundation for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. When you change the way you think about yourself, the way others treat you will follow. Your self-worth is not defined by how much you give to others, but by how much you value yourself. Through self-affirmation and personal growth, you can break the cycle of overgiving and create relationships that are based on mutual respect and understanding. Conclusion: